Okay, so I just finished watching the first two episodes of Dexter Resurrection, and I can say that these first episodes were amazing. Now, if you know me, you know I recently did a deep dive on Dexter throughout his original show. And coming onto this, I didn't know what to expect in all honesty, because from what we saw in Dexter New Blood, I didn't have much hope. But let me tell you, this might actually be better than New Blood. Now, right off the bat, this show gives off serious nostalgic vibes from the original Dexter. From the moment it started, it felt like I was back in that same world again, you know? I know that sounds like a simple take, but if you've seen New Blood, you know exactly what I mean. That show had its moments, but something always felt off. It felt like they were trying to force a different tone onto Dexter instead of embracing what made the original show work so well. So yeah, Dexter's alive. Kind of wild when you remember that Harrison literally shot him in the chest, but somehow he survived. Apparently, the snow slowed his heart rate or something. I don't know, man. It's Dexter, so I'll roll with it. Now, while he's in a coma, we see these dream sequences where he's visited by people from his past. First, we see the Trinity Killer, and he straight up tells Dexter that everything that's happened to Harrison is his fault. Then Miguel Prado appears, showing Dexter graves. Literally graves of all the people that he's killed. And then, of course, Doe shows up. And yes, if you're wondering, he does say the line,
"Surprise, motherfucker."
But here's what's important. They're not just here to wave nostalgia in our faces, obviously. All of them are saying the same thing. Find your son. In my opinion, this is a great way to open the show. These appearances aren't just for fun, they actually matter. It's weird because even though Dexter is dreaming, you get the sense he's really listening. He knows deep down that he's messed up and this might be his last chance to make things right. Meanwhile, in the real world, Harrison is living in New York. He's working at a hotel just trying to blend in. But something about him, feels wrong. You can tell he's still haunted by what happened with Dexter. He keeps flashing back to the moment he pulled the trigger. Now, while working one day, Harrison meets a girl who's lost and looking for a medical conference. They have the usual small talk and she mentions she's from Iowa and new to the city. He points her in the right direction. End of story, right? Well, not quite. Later that night, he sees her again. This time with the guy Harrison knows, someone shady. Now, from just looking at the girl, she looks blackout drunk. The guy tells Harrison to help him carry the girl up to his room because she can barely walk. Now, Harrison does go along with this, but something doesn't sit right with him. The whole situation feels wrong, His gut is telling him not to trust it. And when he can't take it anymore, he kills the guy. Yeah, that's right. He actually just kills the guy. Now, don't panic, obviously. If you remember from New Blood, Dexter did teach Harrison a version of the code. So what does Harrison do? Well, he cuts up the body and bags the pieces, just like Dexter taught him. But he misses a single drop of blood. It's not surprising, this is his first real kill, and he's nowhere near as precise as Dexter. He dumps the bags, thinking he covered his tracks, but that one mistake leads to the NYPD getting involved. And this is where we meet detectives Wallace and Olivia. Right away, Wallace stands out. She puts her headphones in and locks in. Now, in my opinion, her character feels very annoying to me. I'm not sure why, maybe her presence, but she'll probably be an important figure later on. Now, they find all the body parts and figure out the location of the murder, which obviously was the hotel Harrison is working at. Now, back to Dexter, he wakes up after 10 weeks in a coma. Still in Iron Lake, by the way. And as soon as he hears about a suspicious murder in New York, with the body being cut into 9 pieces and put in trash bags, he knows. It's got Harrison written all over it. Because who would kill just like Dexter? Obviously, the answer to that is Harrison, because Dexter taught Harrison how to kill just like him. Now, during all of this, Batista shows up. In the original show, he was pretty much best friends with Dexter, but here, honestly, his presence feels so uneasy. It's like he's trying to arrest them. So what does Dexter do the next day? Well, he escapes the hospital. Yeah. This man steals a dead man's car and goes to New York. Then the last scene of episode 1 shows Dexter spotting Harrison from across the street. Now, episode 2 starts with a different kind of murder. Someone named the Dark Passenger, what I can only presume to be the next big character of the show. A guy that works for a knockoff Uber picks up a passenger. It seems normal, right? But to put it simply, this guy acts as the person that the driver was going to pick up. He hides in a hoodie that has infrared lights so cameras can't see his face. Clever, but sadly, the next scene we see the head of the Uber driver chopped off. Yeah. Then we're back with Dexter. He sneaks into the Empire Hotel where Harrison works and watches the cleanup. He spots a blood drop that the professional missed. It's a small detail, but it shows just how far ahead Dexter is. He's proud, yeah, but you can also tell he's nervous. Harrison is following the code, but he's just not ready yet. During all of this, Dexter also starts seeing Harry again, but this time, Dexter actually uses his brain. Harry urges him to guide Harrison to fix the mess before it gets worse. But Dexter is taking it slow as he knows Harrison needs a break from all that happened. And from what he still knows, he probably thinks Dexter is still in the hospital or even dead. Now, due to Dexter being an idiot, the truck that he stole was towed because he didn't look at the signs. But hey, he just got out of the hospital, so I'll let him off. But then he meets his driver, Blessing Kamara, who has become my favorite character of the show as of right now. And I'd say Dexter and Blessing really go along. He even invites Dexter to a party of his. I mean, this really is the friendliest driver I've ever seen. Now, at the party, this is where it gets more interesting, because Blessing has a friend that had escaped from the dark passenger. He even had it on video, but obviously we can't see his face, but Dexter will figure something out later on. In the meantime, Blessing offers a place for Dexter to rent out, and I mean, this dude really is a blessing for Dexter. From here, Dexter finds out from the video that this dark passenger works at a company called Bridge Data Network. Now, if there's one thing Dexter can do is track people. It doesn't matter who they are and where they are, he'll always find them. So he finds a name, Ronald Schmidt. Ronald works for the company and keeps a low profile, almost like Dexter when he was working at Miami Metro. Dexter decides to go to the company's building and he notices him walking out. He even tries to take another Uber, but guess who saved this man's life? Obviously Dexter. Now, I don't think Dexter has ever saved someone's life specifically like this, risking his own life to save someone else's. But then he decides to go after Ronald, but because of his crippling age, he can't catch up. Yeah, this is where the episode ends. All right, now let's talk about this Ronald guy. He's what I presume to be the next main villain of the series. I think calling him the Dark Passenger really hits, Dexter in the face, as it targets his ego and obsession. And I mean, Dexter in some moments completely forgets about Harrison and literally just focuses so much on Ronald that he wants to kill him himself, just like the old Dexter would. And I mean, we don't know as of now, but he could just be a Dexter fan. Like, that's definitely a possibility, but it doesn't really make sense because he goes after innocent Uber drivers and says some weird stuff before chopping their heads. I'm definitely interested on how they evolve this character, but I would love to see Dexter try to kill again, especially in New York, the place with cameras in every single inch. Now, talking about Dexter, he has changed a lot. The old one had basically a schedule and a system for everything. Now he's out in the open with nothing to hide behind. Tired like an old grandpa, which I'm not surprised, but hey, I'd love to see him try to kill people when he's in his 80s. His narrative is always second-guessing things now. Like, he's always unsure before doing anything, which I'll say is definitely smarter than what the old Dexter used to do, and that was use his dark passenger to go by life. But it only seems like the only purpose of his life right now is trying to take care of Harrison. He's trying to change, which I really like about the series, but the problem is that the dark passenger in him always finds a way to slip out. Now, let's talk about how good these episodes actually are. I think this is a great way to start the series. These 2 episodes reminded me why Dexter was such a strong show in the first place. Every scene feels like it's a part of something bigger, which is something New Blood didn't always manage to pull off. The characters have weight again. They aren't just there to deliver lines. Wallace, for example, feels like a real threat. She's not just a side character. She's asking the right questions, putting things together, and most shows would have made her oblivious until episode 10. Here, she's already trying to add pressure. Harrison also has more depth now. He's clearly trying to live a normal life, but his past keeps dragging him back. And unlike Dexter, who learned how to hide in plain sight, Harrison doesn't have that skill yet. He reacts emotionally, and that's what makes his story so tense. You never know when he'll make the next mistake. Blessing also caught me off guard. He starts off like a background character, but the way he speaks is so direct and friendly. That kind of writing gives me hope for the rest of the season. If they keep building characters like that, this could become something way more layered than we expected. Now, another thing I appreciate is the dream sequences. They didn't feel bad, they actually moved the story forward. Seeing characters like Trinity and Dokes again could have easily been a gimmick, but it wasn't. They said things Dexter needed to hear, and that's the kind of writing that respects the audience. Now, if you are still watching up to this point in the video, it would mean the world to me if you could just click that subscribe button. Dexter is my favorite show, and I'm presuming it's yours as well. But I don't want to keep making Dexter videos every week. So when this series ends, I will do one final video on the analysis of Resurrection. Now, back to the theory. Here's where I think all this is going. Harrison's definitely not done killing. That first one might have been sloppy, but now that he's done it once, it's going to get easier. He'll try to justify it like Dexter used to, but he's not careful. And one of these times, it'll go sideways. You know, the NYPD will keep closing in. Dexter's going to step in, not out of instinct, but out of panic. He knows Harrison can't survive in that world without help, so he'll probably try to reach him more. But that will only bring him closer to being found out, because Wallace is too sharp to miss the pattern. And when it all crashes down, I don't think Dexter walks away clean. I don't know if he dies or disappears, but something tells me this season doesn't end quietly. There's also a good chance Harrison turns on Dexter. Not out of hate, but out of belief. He might think Dexter's holding him back. He might start to see him as a threat to his growth, and that would be the hardest thing Dexter ever has to face. We could even see the roles reversed, Harrison becoming the teacher and Dexter becoming the target. It sounds stupid, but this show is known for pushing characters into impossible corners. This season could end with Dexter doing something he never thought he'd have to do, which is taking out someone while listening to hard rock with his AirPods on. I didn't expect to care this much after New Blood, but if they keep this up, this might be the best season since the original run.